As the central nervous system shuts down, dizziness, impaired balance, and muscle weakness sets in. Breathing becomes very shallow, blood pressure drops to dangerous levels, sleepiness sets in, finally followed by fainting and coma. These are the symptoms of a Xanax overdose. Luckily for Craig Owens, the mortality rate for a Xanax overdose when taken alone is only 1%. Gregory Michael Owens, known mostly for his work as lead singer of Chiodos, is a master of his genre of musical art. He has the ability to sing the high-pitched vocals of his songs and scream the low-pitched growls of the breakdowns. This is quite a feat for his genre of music if you are familiar with it. However, before we get into the drug abuse, I'm first going to tell you about his beginnings. Craig was born in Davidson, Michigan on August 26, 1984. Craig often tells a story of how his parents would constantly fight as a child, and to escape from it, he would climb out the window to listen to music in his mother's car. Craig's love for music began early, and he knew that music needed to be just more than lyrics, but it also had to have meaning. Craig began his mainstream career with a band called Chiodos. Chiodos is a post-hardcore screamo band which Craig founded with his high school friends in 2001. Chiodos would put on 2 records with Craig as the lead singer. All's Well That Ends Well, which is this album here, as well as Bone Palace Ballet, this album here. During 2006, Craig formed an acoustic side project called Cinematic Sunrise, which is right here, and he released 1 album in 2008. Cinematic Sunrise is more of an acoustic. They do love songs mostly. It's a big difference from his screaming Chiodos. Craig also announced his involvement in a supergroup called Isles and Glaciers, which incorporated members from 4 or 5 different bands. However, before Chiodos was signed to a record label, I believe it was Equal Vision Records, Craig signed the band to perform over 300 shows on his own, and this push to perform brought him to his breaking point. Not all good comes from fame and fortune of being a rock star. On July 20th, 2008, fighting an ongoing battle of depression and bipolar disorder, Craig attempted to overdose on Xanax in his home in Michigan. The police report said that ongoing criticism from fans, combined with his depression and bipolar disorder, brought him to a breaking point. As the Xanax set in, the last of the symptoms occurred, and Craig passed out and went to a coma. He later awoke in a hospital and said this: "I woke up in the emergency room surrounded by my family and best friend, with an IV in my left arm hooked up into machines." He stated afterward that he had not suffered any permanent physical damage from the incident, and that he couldn't wait to embark on his next tour with Chiodos. Craig learned from this near-death experience and used it to enhance his lyrics and songwriting, and this is especially apparent in his current works. In September of 2009, Craig released an EP titled With Love. That's this album here. A solo album he had been working on as another side project during Chiodos, and this showcased a more personal side of him, especially after his drug abuse. A week later, and a year after his attempted overdose, September 25th, Chiodos kicked him from the band. The statement released at the time stated personal reasons, and no other information was given. When asked, Craig said he was hurt and confused by the whole thing, and he had no idea where his musical career was going to go. Isles and Glaciers would release their album in March of 2010. However, bigger news would come later in the year. On August 17th, Craig announced his new band called Destroy, Build Until God Shows, ironically abbreviated as D.R.U.G.S, and that's this album here. They released their debut album in February of 2011, and this album truly showcases Craig's musical talent and his songwriting abilities. Even after attempted suicide and departure from the band that he founded, Craig prevailed to perform some of the most heartfelt music I have ever heard. Each song has meaning, and he incorporates a personal side of himself in his writing, so you know each song is written to more than just a song to listen to. This summer I met Craig Owens at Warped Tour. It's actually a picture I took of him. Quite the photographer. And listened to his band perform on their first tour. This is down in Phoenix. Each song he would preface things saying things like, "This song goes out to every girl who has broken your heart," or "This song goes out to every friend who's fucked you over." And when he would sing, everyone in the crowd could feel the emotion, and we all felt as if we knew Craig as our own best friend. Not only does he write beautiful lyrics, but he just has so much to say, and it is also beautiful. Thank you.